What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today, on episode 46, I had to remember what episode we're on, of the podcast, we are talking about the Joel Schumacher-helmed 1995 Batman Forever. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
How's it going?
Sorry, it was sour.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Are you drinking one of those Mountain Dew alcoholic drinks?
Yes, it's the black cherry one. That first sip is always whew.
He's drinking something that smiles at him.
I'm drinking Miller Lite. I'm not sponsored, but maybe
What's on the
one
other
day.
side?
A smiley face.
Yeah. Yes. I seen the smile. It was like, hey.
This is like a fancy bottle that they came up with. What a great
Is it like
start
a
to the
metal?
show about Batman Forever. Yeah, it's the 16-ounce cans.
Hey, you asked me about my drink.
I
would
did.
love to
I
be
started this. Yeah, let's one day. Let's
One
be
day.
sponsored by Mountain Dew, or well, technically Pepsi, or Miller Lite. All right. Today we're talking about Batman Forever, directed by Joel Schumacher. He is the man behind such films as St. Elmo's Fire, The Lost Boys, and The Client, which also starred Tommy Lee Jones. The reasoning behind Tommy Lee Jones being cast in this movie was because of his work with Schumacher on The Client. He also
He directed Phantom of the Opera.
He did. He directed Phone Booth. I don't know if anyone ever seen Phone Booth with Colin
I
Farrell.
have. Yeah,
That's
a good movie.
a very good movie. But yeah, he directed the 2004 Phantom of the Opera, and he directed a couple episodes of a show I really liked on Netflix called House of Cards. But unfortunately, Joel Schumacher passed away in 2020 at the age of 80. But I think when you think of Joel Schumacher, the name, you really think of Batman Forever and mostly Batman and Robin, which are probably two films he doesn't want to be like highly remembered for. But unfortunately, when you make one of the worst movies of all time, you are remembered for that. But just remember, people, he did make good movies in his career.
Yeah.
So don't shame him just for that.
It happens to the best of them.
So this was the first Batman movie that didn't star Keaton. They brought in Val Kilmer to play the Bat. William Baldwin and Ethan Hawke were also considered to be the replacements for Keaton.
I heard that Keaton had turned it down because of where Schumacher was going with it.
Yeah, he didn't like the script. He didn't like the direction he was going. Even though Schumacher's his original idea for the movie was to be a lot darker. He wanted it to be a darker Batman film, but unfortunately, because of the kind of the bad reputation that Batman Returns had with being so dark and a lot of just kind of mature things in it, even though there's some mature stuff in this one too, they wanted to go more light. So that's when Schumacher had to kind of turn around and create a whole new script, which is what we got here. But supposedly there is a 3-hour Schumacher cut of this film, which is his original, idea and view for what he wanted for this. And hey, maybe one day we'll get that. Do I want to go through a 3-hour movie?
Last thing I needed to hear today.
Yeah. I mean, if it does exist and it does come out, most likely I'm going to watch it because I do want to see what that consists of. But ever since the Snyder cut for Justice League, it's just everyone's got a cut out there. Everybody wants the cut. Hey, we need the Ayers cut of Suicide Squad. No, we don't.
Yeah.
That movie's trash. We don't need another cut. All right, stop it. So this movie was released June 9th, 1995, almost 3 years after Batman Returns. It was like 10 days before the 3-year anniversary of Batman Returns that this was released. Tim Burton was a producer of this movie, even though he did nothing with it. They pretty much, because he went into meetings, they had their conversations. He had his ideas of what he wanted. He actually did want the Riddler in the next installment of Batman. Two-Face wasn't brought on as a character added to this movie until Schumacher was brought on. So, you know, they were working their thing. And then by the end of it, Tim Burton was like, yeah, you don't want me, do you? You don't want me directing this. They're like, no, not really. So to be nice, they just put a producer credit on it, even though he had nothing to do with this movie. Like, he didn't do anything with it.
I don't blame him. I would just walk away from this project personally. But
right. So this movie was exactly 2 hours long. One of the big things about Batman Forever was the song "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal. That's a big thing when it came to Batman Forever, and the marketing and all that, and even the music video for the song had clips and stuff from Batman Forever. You do not hear the song until a minute and a half before the end of the credits. Like a minute and a half before the end of the credits, you hear about a minute and a half of the song, and then that's it. And you're like, wait.
The credits hit and we walked away.
I don't blame you. There's nothing to really, you know, sit through. There's nothing to wait for. I was just, I sat through them because I was like, I know Kiss from a Rose is from Batman Forever, right? And it is. But what a song too. And they literally just were like, yeah, we're gonna make sure no one hears it. This was budgeted in 1995 at $100 million. That's a lot of money for 1995. It made $336.6 million in the worldwide box office, which made more than Batman Returns, which made $256 million.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's one of those things.
I bet you it's like Jim Carrey and stuff. It was lighter. People thought, oh, this would be great. We could go take the kids to it, not be another Burton kind of thing. And that's probably what drove some more people to watch the movie.
And yeah, and they had that
idea the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, when we get to what we thought of the movie, you know, we'll give our opinions on it. But yeah, this was, you know, it was a lighter tone Batman movie. And, you know, of course, parents were upset with the way that the Batman Returns was put out there. And so when they saw this and they saw the direction, you know, everybody loves Jim Carrey. He's so funny. I mean, he's fucking hilarious. But, you know, yeah, Jim Carrey's in this movie. Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie. You know, I mean, I don't know if Tommy Lee Jones was really the draw to Batman Forever, but
he was there.
He was there. So yeah, that's just how it was. But then they were like, you know what? We can't have it too light with no, like, you know, sexual stuff going on. So we're going to insert Chase Meridian into the conversation. And there you go.
Enjoy your Nicole Kidman, damn
listen, I don't even know what this character was here to do other than try to convince Bruce Wayne not to be Batman anymore. But, and you know what? Send me more hate, people out there in the internet webs. Fucking, she is the horniest character in Batman history. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I know, dude. She's like, oh, Batman, I want to get up on that. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Even Batman's like, dude, what the fuck's your problem? I got a job, dude. Get the hell out of here.
And then, like, Bruce Wayne's in a love triangle with himself.
Yes.
Oh man. All I gotta say is Nicole Kidman, she's a fantastic actress. This just wasn't a great role for her.
No.
I mean, had to have been the direction from Schumacher, had to have been the script. You can't put all the blame on Nicole Kidman for the way this character was, but Jesus Christ. The first time you see her, you're like, who the fuck is this? Who are you? You're not even she's not even from the comics, is she? I don't think she is.
I have no idea, and I don't even care.
Oh, like, man.
I don't think these were good roles for anybody.
No. I will say it. I've said it my entire life, ever since the first time I saw Batman Forever as a kid. All right. This movie came out before I was 4. I probably didn't see it till I was 6, 7 years old, but goddamn Chris O'Donnell, he's fucking terrible. And the fact that they cast this dude who's like 30 years old to play Robin, to play Dick Grayson, who's supposed to be like this right out of high school type kid. Like, what the fuck is this? And he's terrible.
Dick Grayson.
He's terrible. And to be honest, no offense, Chris O'Donnell, but you're just not a good actor, period.
What has he ever? Has he ever done anything remotely?
You talk about like new, or are you talking about like through his career?
Period.
So there was a movie he did with Al Pacino where Al Pacino was blind. He was like a blind lawyer. I can't remember. Sense of a Woman, I think it was called. I think he was good in that. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that movie, but I've seen some things with Chris O'Donnell, and most of them are, between. Hold on. I mean, he's in NCIS, like Los Angeles now. He's like a big wig over there.
He was in Vertical Limit.
I asked you about Vertical Limit, and you said you've never seen it.
I have not seen it. I was just making a big deal because I've seen Vertical Limit, because I was like, who the fuck remembers Vertical Limit?
I do. The movie's great. Okay, Chris O'Donnell was in one good movie. It was Vertical fucking Limit.
I'll be the judge of that.
Other than that, Chris O'Donnell, what the fuck, man? This was a bad casting.
I like that movie.
You've seen Vertical Limit?
No, The Three Musketeers. I like that movie.
I don't know. It's just Chris O'Donnell. I can't stand Chris O'Donnell.
If anybody in the comments will just come out and say, I have seen Vertical Limit, please do it for Parker. Because I assure you nobody's seen that fucking
I will text my brother. I'll text my brother and say, put in the comments that you've seen Vertical Limit, because you have. He will remember.
Yeah, he was.
That's funny.
Oh my God.
That's great.
So we talked about this during the Batman 89 episode, but Robin Williams, of course, was asked to play the Riddler. He turned it down because he was kind of played as a pawn during the Joker casting, because Nicholson was on the fence. They asked Williams if he wanted it. If Nicholson said no, Nicholson ended up saying yes, and he was kind of shit out of luck. So when they asked him, hey, you want to play the Riddler? He's like, fuck you. And that was the history of that.
Good on him. Good on him.
Mel Gibson was actually asked to play Two-Face before Tommy Lee Jones took the role, even though Schumacher said that Tommy Lee Jones was his first choice for Two-Face. Mel Gibson, I guess, was asked before, but he had he was working on Braveheart at the time. Ooh, see, this is why you don't drink beer on a podcast, all right? Because things start happening.
Gives you the rumblies.
Yeah, the rumblies and the chesties.
There you go.
We're having a good time here, people.
Trying to.
So he was working on Braveheart at the time. He couldn't do it. He was actually he auditioned to play Batman. I don't know if he auditioned, but he was asked to play Batman back during when 89 was being written, and he couldn't do it because he was working on Lethal Weapon 2.
The lethalest of weapons.
Imagine Mel Gibson as Batman, or even as Two-Face. Listen, yeah, that would have been great. I would have loved Mel Gibson as Two-Face. If you've ever watched the Lethal Weapon movies, his character in that is kind of a split personality type of guy. And he would have played it so much better than Tommy Lee Jones, who doesn't even play Two-Face in this movie. He looks like Two-Face, but he's not actually Two-Face. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I
agree 100%.
I don't know if he knows who he's playing. Like, he's playing a little bit of the Joker. He's playing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm like, where's Harvey Dent / Two-Face in this whole situation? Because he's not in this movie.
Why the fuck is he credited as Harvey Two-Face? When the fuck has he ever called that? He's just Two-Face.
He's Two-Face, or like, I know, in the animated series, but also I know in some comics, Bruce Wayne knows Harvey Dent.
So he calls him Harvey Dent.
So he calls him Harvey.
Yeah, and he hates being called that.
Yeah.
He's Two-Face.
Right. But it also plays in the fact that because he is Two-Face, he has two different personalities. Yeah. He has that, he's still Harvey, but also Two-Face is that the entity that takes control over him, when the whole accident happens. Tommy Lee Jones doesn't do that at all in this movie. He's just a fucking weirdo, man. Like,
just one scene.
Yeah, just one scene.
At the very end, he's like, Harvey, your coin. And he's like, he gets all stoic and serious. He's like, you're right. Justice is whatever. And he goes like really stoic and serious. It's like the only time he's serious in like the whole fucking movie almost. Right. And then whatever.
Yeah. Do you think in real life, if like a major district attorney was scarred in a courtroom, that they would have the video for that and show it on the news to show you how Harvey Dent became Two-Face?
Oh yeah, totally.
Do you like his perfect placement in the middle of his face so the acid only hits half his face? You're like, wow.
Fox News.
And even
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
And even after it hits his face, he's like, it's like over here. I'm like, okay, how'd that work out?
That's so good. Oh my God. So
I cannot stand Two-Face.
He's the worst. He's the worst part of this movie. He is the worst part of this movie. And to be honest, I think I enjoyed him when I was a kid because I mean, of course I was a kid, so I didn't have these. I wasn't judging things as much as I do now.
Well, I mean, but even like if you think about it, like I'm not a Two-Face expert, but like my knowledge on Two-Face from like the animated series, various movies, and other iterations after this, video games, he does not act like this.
No,
he doesn't. Literally it's like, guys, we want the Joker in this movie. Well, we killed him off. Well, let's just bring Two-Face in and make him act like the Joker. That's
it was funny is when I was watching this, you know, some of the parts my wife was awake for, she was like, is he supposed to be Two-Face? I'm like, yeah. Do you look how he, you know, his visual appearance. Yeah, he's Two-Face. She's like, he's acting like the Joker. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's the fucking Joker looking like Two-Face. He doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing.
Gotta get her on.
She's the expert. Yeah. Just tell her she can come on the podcast, talk for a little bit, and nap for the other half. It's fine. Right.
Just go off screen.
No, just you got a chair right there in the back.
Yeah,
she can sit
I do. Right there.
I just kidding.
You can sit with Michael, with Batman. I mean, he's Batman. He's not Michael. I'm Vengeance.
Vengeance.
That's a good movie, people. Go see that one.
Yes.
Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones did not get along. It was more Tommy Lee Jones didn't like Jim Carrey. He pretty much said he was a terrible actor and he hated all of his movies. Said that straight to Jim Carrey's face. The story that I read was that it was during filming, or it was right before they were starting to film. Jim Carrey was at the same restaurant as Tommy Lee Jones and he saw him. So he went up to him and was going to be like, hey, I'm so excited to be working with you and all that. Because Jim Carrey, from a lot of reports that I've read, is that he's a very nice guy. He's a very personable dude who likes to talk to people. He went up, was very excited that he was going to be working with him. And Tommy Lee Jones just turned to him. He's like, I don't like you. I don't like anything you're in. Please go away. And to be honest, I've heard some things about Tommy Lee Jones that he is not a very pleasant man, and as he gets older, it just gets worse.
Oh, okay, fair point. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But I have to say, 90s Tommy Lee Jones is my favorite Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, have you ever seen Under Siege with Steven Seagal?
Yep.
I mean, Tommy Lee Jones, great.
Was he in?
And of course, Men in Black. You can't forget Men in Black.
Yeah.
Was he in Fugitive?
He was great in that with Harrison Ford.
What are you doing? Oh, it wasn't me. I don't care. Anyway,
I don't care. I'm just here to bring you in.
Yeah.
Great
and
movie.
Then Men in Black.
Yeah. I mean, it's 90s. Tommy Lee Jones is great.
Yeah. Double Jeopardy. Another good movie he's in.
Yes.
Anyway.
We could keep going on that.
We could. But I can see that he just comes off like he would be an asshole. Just the way he is. But anyway, go ahead.
It was a lot of friction on this movie between, you know, Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones. You know, they had their whole thing with Joel Schumacher and Val Kilmer didn't really have a great relationship because, you know, Schumacher said that Val Kilmer was very difficult to work with, and he was pretty much childish, and, you know, pretty much if you suggested something and Schumacher turned it down, he would throw a tantrum, you know, about it. There was a time where he like walked off set and didn't talk to Schumacher for like 2 straight weeks. I'm like, wow.
That's Batman.
Yeah. Schumacher came out and he pretty much said there was 2 great things about Val Kilmer being Batman. He said the first one was that he said yes, and then the second one was we got it to the point where he doesn't need to come back to play Batman ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
No, you can't. We're not going to see it.
I have to see it. I'll go by myself.
One of the original, what are we talking about?
Sorry, Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, I've never even seen Top Gun, so.
He had never seen it up until a few years ago, and I made him watch it.
It was all right. It was just a bunch of sweaty bros playing volleyball and some jets. It was. Yeah, no, you know it's true. You can still like it. You can still like it. It's okay.
I do like it.
So Leonardo DiCaprio was actually asked to play Dick Grayson, but as Keaton, the reason Keaton turned down coming back as Batman was the reason that DiCaprio decided not to play Robin, because he just didn't like the direction Schumacher was going in with this movie. It was just too much.
He would have looked more appropriate on screen for the correct age they were going for.
Right? Because in 1995, he would have, he looked pretty young in Titanic, which came out 2 years later. Yeah, it would have been perfect. It would have been perfect compared to Chris O'Donnell. Who the fuck are you, man? I did a lot of things. I don't know. This was the first time Arkham Asylum was ever put on film.
Yeah.
Good times. It was shown in the animated series, of course, but yeah, it's the first time in live action that the Arkham Asylum was put on film, which I thought was pretty interesting. Oh man, I love when I blank out on what I was going to say.
You're going to say Jim Carrey was the best Riddler of all time.
No, that's not true. Listen, he's not, because the animated series Riddler is fantastic, even though he's not a film version of the Riddler, but I love the animated series Riddler. And of course, the Riddler from the Batman, which we won't talk too much into. Unless you've watched our Fresh Cuts, which came out on Monday.
Yeah.
Then you'll know. But Jim Carrey's Riddler, listen, Jim Carrey is playing Jim Carrey. All right. Jim Carrey came on. He's like, I'm going to take Ace Ventura, this, and this. I'm going to mold it. And that's who I am. He's not really, he's the Riddler, but he's not at the same time. He's just being Jim Carrey from the 90s, which I was okay with. I didn't think it was terrible. But I don't know. I didn't hate it. I've always been a fan of Jim Carrey's Riddler, even if it's just Jim Carrey being himself for
The Mask came out the year before, so
I hate
exactly.
It's just
I hate
understand how you hate
the mask.
It's so good.
No, okay, so
it was just Jim Carrey in the mask without the mask.
Exactly, and I'm okay with that.
That's exactly how he acted.
I like Jim Carrey. I think he's a great guy. He's not the Riddler. I'm sorry. Like, the Riddler wasn't I don't know. He's just not the Riddler. He's just Jim Carrey wearing question marks.
Yes,
I want all of his outfits.
Apparently, he had input on his wardrobe design. Apparently, I don't care for him. Like, I'm sorry, this is not. It's the same I feel about Tommy Lee Jones playing Two-Face. It's not the character.
I agree with you about Tommy Lee Jones.
I don't mind a different I don't mind like a different interpretation, but like this wasn't even like a really good different interpretation. It was just like, let's just make so we have our main characters that are serious, Batman, Robin, and then you have apparently, how do you make the bad guys? Well, you make them all ridiculous, loony, and they laugh about it all the time and make jokes and shit. Yeah. That's how you know they're bad guys. Like, is that really how that works? Did you guys read a Batman comic? Do you know anything about Batman? Like, did somebody just hand you a pamphlet? Like, here's the bullet points. Here's his origin. This is what he does. And
the funny thing is Schumacher came out and said that he's a huge Batman comics fan. Like, he had read a bunch of Batman comics before taking on the job. But it's like, what? Where did you just watch the 66 show and went, we're going with that? That's what we're doing.
It must have been. He's like, I read a bunch. It was like 30s and 40s comics, and then a little bit of this one with Adam West, and we were good. Like, oh, really? Okay.
I was just so sad that they didn't bring Billy D. Williams in to do Two-Face.
I heard they bought out his contract.
Yes, and he was very upset about it because he was very excited to play Two-Face, because his whole idea of taking the role of Harvey Dent was eventually he was going to become Two-Face. And he was pumped about it. And then they kind of were like, yeah, we're going in a different direction. We don't want any kind of ties to the original. Of course, Alfred's still there. Michael Goff is still there playing Alfred. But other than that, like, we don't want any other ties with the Burton Batmans. And that it sucks. Again, let me iterate. If you want to see what Billy D. Williams would have looked like as Two-Face, read the Batman 89 comic series. I heard it's fantastic. I gotta buy them and start reading them. But you get to see what he looks like. And it's very disappointing that we got Tommy Lee Jones instead.
I have to look that up. He's like purple. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Why?
So like I know from the images I've seen on the comic is that Billy D. Williams is his Two-Face kind of looks like a mixture between the animated, like it kind of looks like the animated series, but not blue. You know how his Two-Face got like a blue hue to it, but it's more like a fleshy red instead.
Oh, I think he was blue just because it was on a cartoon on television.
Right. Yeah.
They could have done like red and stuff. Like, oh, let's pick a different color.
But it's very similar to that.
I'll have to check it out. So
yeah, if you didn't hear the wonderful line that Robin says in this movie, which I'll just talk about it now. We'll talk about the scene later, is when they come out of the water when they're going to the island. And he says, "Holy rusted metal, Batman." I was like,
"Oh, you had a hell of a time with that one."
We had to squeeze that one in there, didn't we? That was a nod, of course, to Burt Ward, who played Robin in the '66 Batman series and movie. That was like his
Batman, we're in a jam.
He just had to say ridiculous things like that.
I just think of the
series of the show.
I just think of the episode of Simpsons where they're filming a live action Radioactive Man movie in Springfield, and Milhouse's Fallout Boy, and he says he's getting sick of saying Jiminy Jillikers all the time, and then they cast Mickey Rooney to be fucking Fallout Boy, and he's like Jiminy Jillikers, and the dude director's like, we're shutting down production, like we're done. Like that's just the whole thing I thought of during that whole scene. I was like, this is awful.
Oh, Bruce Timm, who is the producer and he was the creator of the Batman animated series, he did not like Schumacher's Batman at all. He said it's probably the worst Batman he has seen. But Bob Kane, fuck you, Bob Kane. He loved it. He said he's probably the best Batman that he had ever seen on screen. He would. Fuck you, Bob Kane, and I'll say it again.
Yes,
I'm only saying this for anyone who's like, "What are you saying that about Bob Kane?" Watch the documentary Batman and Bill. I just watched it. It's heartbreaking.
It's awful,
and it really puts it just made Bob Kane look like a piece of garbage.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why we say fuck Bob Kane when we talk about Batman, because that man literally turned in someone else's work and said it was all me, and fuck the other guy for the rest of his life, and he died alone and penniless.
Never once did he ever say that he ever did that. He denied the day
he did in a book.
Oh, did he?
He did it in a book. He stated that Bill pretty much was a huge, like he did like 85% of it was Bill Finger.
Oh, he did. Okay, that's right. It's been a while since I've seen that documentary.
Yeah, but the fact that it took up until Batman v Superman for them to put Bill Finger's name in the credits as a creator of Batman is just fucking pathetic. When it was made in first comic came out in 39.
Yes, yeah.
And Batman v Superman came out in 2016. Like, it's fucking crazy.
When we talk about a Superman movie, eventually we'll have to talk about what the same thing happened to Schuster and Siegel.
It's a very similar but different situation because they were fighting together, where it was when it came to Batman, it was one guy taking all the credit and just kind of fucking burying this other dude into the dirt.
Well, it's also different because it wasn't actually Schuster and Siegel that ended up getting their name restored on the comic. It was Neil Adams, who was one of the main writers at the time in the new Superman movie. He used the publicity of the Superman movie to convince DC to give him, because Neil Adams was like one of the top animators at the time, artists at the time, and he convinced them to do it, give them their name, their byline back. After what, like 30 years at that point that they weren't on the comic.
Yep.
Horseshit.
So yeah, if you want to know the history behind the creators of Batman, because Bob Kane is still a creator of Batman, but he was a very minor creator compared to Bill Finger. So make sure to check out Batman and Bill on Hulu. It's a fantastic documentary.
Yeah,
that Dan actually told me about. So I was very excited to get to watch it, and very sad.
I'm glad you got to see it. Yeah.
Whew. So Batman Forever. What the fuck is this title? Like, I just don't understand it. For one, it's not the fourth Batman. So maybe you could have been like, okay, it's the fourth Batman. So Batman Forever. No, it's the third Batman. What is this? It just doesn't make sense.
Why wasn't this one Batman and Robin?
I don't know. Because they didn't want people to know that Robin was going to be in this?
Call it Batman 3 Easy Rider. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Sounds great. Perfect.
But he's on the cover. Was he not on the poster?
Who was on that poster?
Who?
Robin.
Robin? Was he not on the poster?
Oh,
for
he
the
is.
movie?
He's on this cover too.
So
he's right there as Robin. But was he on the poster when the movie came out? Is the question.
Just call it Jim Carrey versus Batman. That would have been fun.
There you go. Just say Jim Carrey. What is he talking about? Just a useless tidbit. You know the scene where Batman has to go see Chase to see if she truly is in love with Batman and she's wrapped in her sheet? She's actually naked under there.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, really.
I haven't looked at that. I was looking at the scene. I was like, who the fuck sleeps like that? Why isn't she on her pillow? What's wrong with her?
There's a lot of people who sleep naked. What's wrong with that?
I'm talking about sleeping naked. I'm talking about
but you know.
No,
not even a pillow.
Because then when you wake up in the morning, you got to start peeling things off your thigh. But anyway, the point. No, listen. Not that she was naked. Just when she's actually, just look at her orientation now. She's laying in the bed. She's nowhere near her pillow. And her pillow's perfectly where it's supposed to be at the top of the bed. She's like down in like this weird, like, who the fuck sleeps like that? And of course, her hair's perfect. Like,
right. She just comes out there. She's got like a rat's nest. She comes see Batman.
Yeah.
We need reality, Schumacher.
Please.
I cannot find. There's a movie poster.
So the only reason Tommy Lee Jones took the role of Harvey, because he, of course, we were talking about how Schumacher, that was his first choice for him. He took it because his son's favorite character in the Batman comics was Two-Face.
Wow, so his son must have been disappointed.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg was considered for the role of Robin.
Oh, yet. Listen, dude.
Oh, no,
all right? You all right?
We've killed
him. Listen, guys, he wouldn't have had to read any books for this one either. It would have been fine. It would have been golden.
Imagine watching Mark Wahlberg do the laundry scene. This movie.
I watched Mark Wahlberg run away from killer plants. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, the laundry scene was a gift.
You're not going to kill me, Mr. Leaf, are you? You're not going to kill me, are you, Mr. Leaf? That's the only movie I've ever walked out of in the theater.
Really?
Only movie I've ever walked out of. It was fucking awful. The Happening is a terrible movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
we went and watched.
Did we leave a movie?
When I was a kid, we went and watched Ace Ventura, and when they got to the scene where he was talking with his butt, my mom's like, "Nope, we're done." Then we had to go watch My Girl.
Listen. Let me tell you something.
I mean, it's still a good movie too. It's very sad.
We were
Ace Ventura's better.
Listen, My Girl, bees. My God.
We started watching.
No.
Halfway through the movie, I'm like, what the heck's going on?
He got to put his glasses on. He can't see without his glasses.
I know. I'm like, I don't like this.
I cried at that scene. It's a sad movie.
It is a sad movie. I did not mean to make you like almost spit your fucking drink out.
My mom.
We're not getting into that.
My mom thought that this was going to be the perfect movie for us all to go see. And me being how old I was, 94?
You would have been at least 15.
I gotta look it up. Was the woman who played...
You're about to lose a co-host because I'm about to off it.
Someone's about to die.
I was 9.
85, and depending on what...
I would have been 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And my mom thought this was a good movie for us to go see.
That's pretty funny. Sean Young, who plays Einhorn in Ace Ventura, she was actually supposed to play Vicky Vale in Batman 89. Justin talked about it last
Nice.
week during the Batman Returns
Yeah, that's
episode.
right.
I think she was like an alcoholic or something. She was some substance abuse, I think, was going on where she couldn't take the role. Michael Jackson wanted to play the Riddler, but he was turned down.
Oh, that could have been.
Matthew Broderick also wanted to play in the role, but Jim Carrey was cast because of the success of Ace Ventura. It all comes back around, people.
Money, baby.
Yep.
I mean, he was in a lot of movies right before this, though. Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber.
I think Dumb and Dumber was after that.
Was it after?
I think so. Well, I mean, you got to think though, if a studio's trying to make, I hate it when they do this, but when they're trying to bounce back monetarily, you might as well stick as many big popular stars in it as you physically can.
Yeah.
So, like, I get why they were doing it. I don't agree with it, but oh no, Dumb and Dumber was 94. I thought it was later.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking cable guy. Dude, Nature Calls came out the same fucking year.
Yeah.
As this?
Yes. Yes.
Listen,
Man,
as much as I love Ace Ventura, when Nature Calls, that movie looked like it took about 3 weeks to make.
Yes, it did.
Oh my god.
And who are you? The Monopoly Man?
Oh boy. We're going to talk more about Ace Ventura than anything. We won't even have to cover those movies when it gets.
As far as I'm concerned, he was the same role in all 3 movies. So what's it matter?
I told you, it's him playing freaking. Oh my god. So good.
I just want to know when we're going to review Earth Girls Are Easy. That's what I want to know.
I don't even know if I've ever heard of that movie.
Oh my god, 1988.
It's him. I think it's one of the Wayans brothers. And somebody click on who's in this. I'm sorry not to derail this. We've
already derailed.
You have to know. You have to know who's in this movie. Jeff Goldblum, Jim Carrey, Damon Wayans,
Gina Davis.
Davis.
What is it called?
Earth Girls Are Easy. It's from 1988 or 1989.
Oh my god.
Carry on. Sorry. Go ahead.
So Danny Elfman was not brought back to do the music for this movie. Elliot Goldenthal came in and did the music, and boy does this man love the horns. He loves horns.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Lay off the brass
horns
section.
And more horns.
I'm glad
Crazy.
He said
horns. He did the music for some movies as, let's see, Public Enemies from 2009, which had Johnny Depp. The Tempest, which is based on a William Shakespeare. Fear? I don't fucking know.
He's a ball.
Yeah. And he also did Interview with a Vampire and In Dreams. Never heard of the second one there, but never heard of this guy. But boy, does he fucking love horns. That's all I got to say. And you hear the theme so much in this movie. It's crazy.
Yep, you do.
Yeah. What did you guys think of like the way Gotham looked in this movie?
I felt
I don't remember.
like it was still had a little bit of that Tim Burton like neo-gothic kind of look to him, if that's the even correct term to use.
With all the statues of Atlas like holding up shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but then there was like a ridiculous amount of like bright neon colors, almost like, I don't know what era that would be. There were just a lot of neon signs, maybe like the 30s or 40s or something, some shit like that. The 50s, a lot of neons. I thought of that too. I don't know. The movie felt like a fucking cartoon half the time anyway.
Oh, so this movie was 100% a live action cartoon. 100%.
But a bad one.
Yeah. There's just so much trivia on this movie that a lot of it is just like, why? I don't care. This Jim Carrey, one of the ideas for the script also was that Jim Carrey shave a question mark into his head. But he was going through a divorce, and so they said, yeah, probably shouldn't, since he's going to have to appear in court and just look like a crazy person.
That might be a problem.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I don't know anything else of importance I should talk about. Listen, if we miss any trivia or if anything that people are like, oh my god, you didn't talk about that, put them in the comments so we can read them on the next show, and we can be like, sorry, we missed it. All right. Well,
can I ask you a question, Parker?
You sure can.
Because I don't think we've done this yet. I'm gonna steal from you for a minute. Is that okay?
You're gonna steal from me?
Yeah. We're gonna turn this on it because this is a weird movie, right? Kind of. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you, what did you think of this movie?
I love this movie.
I'm gonna take this question from you, motherfucker.
I to be honest, I did not enjoy it as much as I remember it. Like, it's definitely not as good to me as it once was. But I don't hate this movie. I don't think Val Kilmer is a great Batman. I thought he was a decent Bruce Wayne. But his Batman was a little off for me. But I thought the fight scenes were better than the Burton movies, even though they're still kind of to be honest, I don't hate Jim Carrey as the Riddler because he's just being Jim Carrey, and it's just still funny to me just how crazy, and he just looked like he was having a blast doing it. Tommy Lee Jones is the worst part of this movie. I think his Two-Face is just complete garbage, to be honest. Pat Hingle's still there as fucking Commissioner Gordon, still hamming it up. And to be honest, he fits in this movie because this movie is cheesy as hell.
He's got a lot more screen time.
He does. He has more conversations between, him, Bruce Wayne, and Batman. They, have that whole back and forth. Nicole Kidman is just like, why can we stop giving Batman love interests? Like, it just kind of kills me, man. Like, it always seems like it turns into the same thing where Batman falls for this woman, and then that woman almost, makes him has to decide between whether or not he wants to continue being Batman or not.
Yeah,
in a way.
And it's the same way it plays out in the next movie. Well, she won't be there, and then he'll be starting with some other girl, and it's just.
I thought it was a pretty interesting thing, where she at first falls in love with Batman, and then she, is with Bruce, but she's like, I met a guy talking about Batman when she's with Bruce, and he's like, I'm in a fucking love triangle with myself.
Right? You've only been here like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Michael Goff is he's such a good Alfred. And I think that is one of the brightest points of any of these Batman movies is just how great he is.
Yep.
Other than that, like, I had fun with this movie. This movie is fun to watch. It's definitely not something I'd watch as much as I used to, but it's a fun movie.
Okay, so I'm going. I guess. Apparently I'm going. No. No, I did not like this movie. This is not the worst movie I've ever seen. Not by a stretch. I'm not even going to begin to say that it is. I'm not Keaton, not Keaton, fucking Val Kilmer. I like Val Kilmer in certain roles. Like, of course, I loved him in Tombstone and shit like that.
Yeah,
I do like Val Kilmer. He was, like you said, I agree with you. He was okay Bruce Wayne. Did not care for him as Batman. I didn't care about Chris O'Donnell either way. Tommy Lee Jones didn't give a shit about. I hated the portrayal of the villains. I'm sorry. I still love Jim Carrey, but if I want to see Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, I'll watch my favorite Jim Carrey movie, Liar Liar. So I'll just watch that and laugh my ass off the whole time.
It's a great movie.
Michael Gough was great because it's Michael Gough or Goff or however you say his name. Didn't care about Nicole Kidman's character. I just didn't care about most of the people in this movie. Honestly, this movie struggled to hold my interest. There were scenes that I enjoyed. There were some fight scenes and stuff like that. And, some little bits here and there. But this movie really did struggle to hold my interest. I will probably not watch it again because there's other movies I could watch. And it was unfairly, this movie was brought up. It was like the Batman and then this movie. So it kind of had a lot against it.
Yeah.
And it had one of the worst starts to a movie I've ever seen before. And I knew I was fucking doomed after those first few lines of dialogue.
You mean you didn't like bat nipples?
The bat nipples, the bat bulge, badass, I can deal with. But the fact
Would you like to take a sandwich? Could I interest you in a sandwich, sir? I'll just get takeout.
I'm like, what in the fuck, dude? Like, why is that your opening line? Like, if you're like, we need to make it seem more lighthearted in tone, guys, let's just start with something good. Like, who's like, that's the ticket? Like, never mind. Yeah. So I didn't like it. Your turn.
I do remember enjoying it more the first time I watched it.
Oh, I need to interrupt. This was my first time watching it, just in case. I mentioned it last couple episodes, I think, or last episode, but just so everybody knows, this is my first time seeing this movie, so I have no nostalgia for it at all. So go ahead, sorry.
Because I remember the part with the whatever he calls it, the box.
Yeah.
At the party.
Yep.
That I remember that part, and I remember a couple of Riddler's lines. But Would I watch it again? Probably not. But I did enjoy it. But I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Oh yeah, I mean, let me back to me. I don't know the next time I'll ever watch this movie. It's definitely a low Batman movie for me. And something I talked about in the first Batman episode, we were supposed to do rankings, and I didn't do any of that. So we're gonna do it at the end of the show. We're gonna have to go back, and we're gonna have to rank the first 3 Batmans.
Please.
And
yeah.
I remember by the end of this episode. So. Oh man, but goddamn, all the goddamn quotable lines from Jim Carrey in this movie is so great. He's killing it. All right, he's having a blast.
Oh, he is clearly like he above everybody else is having a hell of a time with this movie.
He takes a simple thing as knocking a dude out with a coffee maker thing, and literally instead of it just cutting to the next scene, he's got to add caffeine will kill you, and it's like Jim Carrey. Fucking Jim Carrey. All right. Are we ready for the plot of Batman Forever?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. So this movie, I think it's the first time that they show the Warner Brothers symbol and it turns into the bat.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was like, oh, okay.
That was pretty cool. And then it shows the really awful 3D render, like, titles like of the actors' names as they like come to the screen, then they shoot by your face. Oh no!
Just like that.
I feel I have to knock the movie off of the desk at least once a show. But yeah, so we get that wonderful thing. And we get very personal shots of Batman as he's getting ready. Why, Schumacher? Why? Why do we need ass, crotch, and nipple shots? Who decided to put nipples on the bat suit? It's stupid. Stupid. So mad. What'd you think of the new Batmobile?
That's fine. It was very stylized. I thought it fit with the kind of over the top angle. I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of neat with all the glow to it and everything.
Yeah, it was like an exoskeleton. It had a really cool design to it.
Definitely brighter. It's like, how do we make it look brighter? Just put fucking a bunch of lights on it. Like, all right, perfect.
Just shoved them all in there.
These are the motherfuckers that started that stupid ass underglow concept on cars. I blame Batman Forever for that.
Yes, I'm sure it was their fault.
So we get a great first line of the movie, as we just said, about the sandwich, and Batman says, I'm gonna get takeout. That's literally the first fucking word said in this movie. So you know exactly when that happens, you know the tone of it. You know where you're going with this movie. You're not expecting anything dark. There's no way after those lines you're going to be going into a Burton-style Batman. It's just not happening.
Oh, God.
We go to downtown Gotham, where we meet Two-Face as he tortures a very geriatric fucking guard. This fucking guy, where was he from? Like, oh my God, are you going to kill me? Like, what is this guy?
He is a ridiculously eccentric. I have no idea what the fuck his issue is.
Oh my God. So, Two-Face is torturing him. He ties him up, throws him in this giant safe that's on rails for some reason. Of course, if you don't know the character Two-Face, he has a coin that he flips to determine whether you live or die. And he flips it. It's on the good side, so he tells the guard, like, I guess you get to live another day. Batman swoops in and gets the briefing from Gordon. I love Batman's like entrance. Like, what's up, everybody? Yeah. And of course, Chase Meridian is there, Nicole Kidman's character. Oh, fuck, I don't care. You brought her into what? to consult, because she specializes in people like Harvey. You're like, what? What is she gonna do? Is she going to talk about? Yeah, what is she going to do? It was so weird. And she loves the Batman. She's already is starting to fucking feel him up. You're like, all right, Chase, you need to back the fuck up.
I don't know why. Just taser, dude.
Oh, man. So Batman gets up to where Two-Face is and his very generic looking goons that kind of look like a ripoff of Bane without the venom.
Yeah.
I was very thrown off by that. So he fights a bunch of them. I kind of like the entrance he makes, though. He's kind of like crouched in the corner of the elevator. and he kind of drops down and beats him up. The fight scenes do look better in this movie compared to the Burton films. I feel, I mean, of course, it probably wasn't Val Kilmer doing it all, but it seemed like, you know, kicks and punches and stuff, it seems more fluid than what we got, you know, with the past two films. Two-Face, he runs off. Batman gets trapped in the safe with the guard. Like, are you an idiot, Batman? Like, he's in a safe. Maybe don't go in it. I understand you want to save this guy, but seems pretty stupid. And they go for a little ride. They get attached to a chain. The safe gets pulled off the tracks and pulled out the window, and it's dangling from a helicopter. And as everything is happening, acid starts pouring out of the compartments. And I just love the guard who has to announce everything that's happening. It's
everything.
It's boiling acid.
That's what I told Angela and I were talking about. At this moment, like, this dude's like, oh no, my feet, the acid, we're in the air, we're gonna die. I'm like, dude, this fucking is a cartoon. I was like, we are watching the worst fucking cartoon ever. This is Saturday morning cartoons. Like, this is fucking terrible.
And I love the guard's glasses fall in to the acid, and then Batman's like, I need to borrow this. He takes his hearing aid off to use. He's like, that's my hearing aid. I was like, motherfucker, it's Batman. He's trying to save you, you idiot. Shut the fuck up.
No, Batman's like, thanks. Like, just not say anything. Be a good Batman and just don't 100%. Say anything.
And Batman gets the safe open before the acid reaches them. Batman sends the guard back to the where the safe's original location was, which was perfectly brought back to the spot with a very thin fucking wire that Batman shoots. By the way,
and he knew exactly how long to make this said line.
Perfect. And then, of course, when the safe comes back in with the guard on top, fucking Commissioner Gordon's like, "You young man, stay right there." Where is he going, Commissioner? He's not going anywhere. He's just been through some harrowing shit. All right.
Yeah. Right.
He's
Jesus.
gonna lay back down on the floor.
Yeah. Just don't ask any questions about it, because he'll talk your fucking ear off.
Two-Face, he takes control of he thinks he killed Batman because Batman's hanging on the chain. He thinks that he crashes through a sign, thinks that he killed Batman. The helicopter would have blown up. They crashed through that sign, or at least crashed itself. And he's all happy because Batman's dead. But no, Batman goes onto the windshield of the helicopter. Two-Face shoots the driver or the pilot like an idiot because, of course, Batman's on the fucking, you know, it's just his cape, but let's shoot the windshield. All right, cool. Good job. He takes control of the helicopter. He's maneuvering. He's got one of those, what are those things called where it like locks the steer? Is it like a steering wheel lock?
Yeah, they're like a bar. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I was like, why the fuck is that in that plane or the helicopter?
Yeah, he just brought one. He knew this situation was going to happen. He locks it up. Batman comes in. He throws a couple punches, and Two-Face escapes with a parachute, which I guess was underneath his jacket, because that's how it looked. Like, I never saw him have a parachute on. He just kind of jumps out. I was like, okay.
I don't know. I just assumed he grabbed one from the inside, but like you said, you don't see him with it.
Honestly, it looks like he's just dangling from from it.
With some green screen behind him.
Yeah.
So Batman tries to take control of the helicopter. He can because of the bar, so he jumps out right before the helicopter crashes into the very awesome plaster of Paris fucking Gotham Statue of Liberty, that when it hits it, it just tears the face of the Statue of Liberty apart. I'm like, I don't think that would happen if it was brass.
I just love how it says Gotham in the crown. I'm like, okay, guys. Okay.
Gotham is just so full of itself. They got to put Gotham on everything.
She definitely wouldn't have broken like that.
No, but you could tell that when the blades of the helicopter hit her face, it explodes. The very next day, we get a very CG shot of Gotham as it zooms into Wayne Enterprises. And we get Bruce Wayne is visiting this department. I think it's the science department of Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah.
And we meet Fred, who is the head of the department, who is played by, oh God, I know this guy. Cast. Jon Favreau was in this movie. Ed Begley Jr.
Was he?
Yeah, I guess he was like a character you probably wouldn't have even realized was there.
Right.
So Fred is played by Ed Begley Jr. He's been in a lot of movies over the years. He was in recently he was in the awesome 2016 Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah. And he is, he's talking with Bruce, and then of course we meet Edward Nygma, played by Jim Carrey, who is very much a fan of Bruce Wayne. He wants to be Bruce Wayne. He wants Bruce Wayne to approve of him. And of course, Fred is not about having Ed meet him, but he still does.
This all sounds very familiar. Like we watched another movie with a guy that asked a lot of questions that seeked approval from another character that may have been very similar to this movie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, not at all. Carry on. I'm imagining things entirely different.
So he has a very fancy experiment that'll pretty much what it does is it messes with the human brain with brain waves. It projects images that like you're thinking onto like a screen, and you get to experience your thoughts. More it's it's for nefarious. He's going to use it for nefarious reasons, but he really just wants funding for it because he knows it's going to be a great thing. And Bruce is all on board to help him out, but unfortunately the process and the time that it's going to take, Ed's not about it. And I don't know how you tell the CEO of a company that he needs an answer today. That's fucking insane. Of course, the fucking CEO is gonna say no, especially when he has no idea the like extreme details behind the experiments.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like you said, Bruce was. Oh, God, sorry.
No, keep going.
I was like you said, Bruce was on board, dude. He was like, yeah, absolutely. Send me the schematics over and everything. But of course, Edward's like, I need to know because he's like Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. So I was like, all right.
So Ed is very disappointed with Bruce's decision. Chase Meridian, she uses the bat signal to lure Batman to try to get close to him. You get this is again her just feeling him up, kind of being like, oh, I'd like to see what's under the mask. I'd like to see what's into this. And it's like, and he's just like, the fuck is with this girl?
Man, he's like, man, it's going to take a lot more than this to get inside my cod piece. So,
yeah. And Commissioner Gordon then shows up too. Like, he's like, I saw the symbol. What happened?
Well, but then we also get
false alarm.
We also get another a shitty line. It's the car, isn't it? Chicks dig the car. Like, why the fuck would you say that, Batman? Why?
Why would I heard that line? Did I always think it was what Robin or what Dick would say when he stole the Batmobile? I thought that was one of his lines, but it wasn't.
That makes more sense for him as his character in this movie than as fucking Batman.
Yeah. And listen, people can get mad and say all they want about, what we're talking about with Chase Meridian, but this woman is horny as fuck. Like, she just wants Batman's D.
She's thirsty.
She saw the codpiece.
Yeah. So say all you want in the comments about whatever. She's horny. Ed is working on his experiment late at night.
Horny, baby.
Yeah. And Fred crashes his party. Ed knocks him out. He's like, caffeine will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Get a lot of lines from Jim Carrey in this. Fred wakes up, and I don't like that this scene has a guy named Fred and Ed. Don't like it.
Yeah.
But
it's difficult.
Fred wakes up, he is strapped to Ed's contraption where he turns it on, and he gets put into like this trance, and he starts getting his brain waves sucked out, and it's going into Ed, and things are starting to die down, so he juices it back up, and he's getting a lot of juice from Fred until it blows out. Fred's all mad. He pretty much is saying, he's telling him he's going to get put in a mental institution. He's going to get arrested, blah, blah, blah. And that's when Ed decides he's going to push him out the fucking window, which the building is right above a waterfall. Very horrible death.
Of course it is.
So he pushes Fred down to the window. He crashes into the window, but the wire that's attached to the helmet, it gets
taut as he's hanging out, and Ed runs. I love how he was like, "What, Fred? Wait!" and what's the line? He says, "Oh my God!" He says, "Fred, babe, you are fired, or should I say, terminated." And then he pushes him. He falls, or he takes the helmet off. He falls, and then when he crashes, he says, "Surf's up, big kahuna."
Yep. Oh, didn't stick the landing.
It's like, oh, nice form, but a little rough in the landing. He may have to settle for the bronze.
Did you notice, though? Did you notice? And this may have been the intention. When they did the helmet thing with the box, and he was testing that with Fred, like how his character like changed dramatically after that. Because earlier, because he's all like scatterbrain and shit, but now he has like this focus and stuff. I guess that was the point. I mean, it kind of messed with his brain. It made him more evil or more focused as being evil. But
I think once Bruce told him no, that's where he starts to turn.
Okay.
And he was doing. I think this whole thing with him and Fred was kind of planned to begin with. Like he knew that he was working. He knew Fred was going to still be there, and then we get what we get.
Yeah.
Bruce gets sent a riddle. Before that, Bruce goes to talk with Gordon about the accident. And how did Ed manipulate this cam footage? How the fuck did he get? That's so
what
confused.
I know later they say, "Oh, it must have been like a computer recreation or something." I was like, "Is it?"
It literally looks like Fred just running and jumping out the window. Like, how did he get that to? It doesn't make sense.
Look how quick Gordon is like, "Yep, it's a suicide."
Yeah, because he's got the note. Why would he leave the note with Ed too? Somebody that people clearly saw that Fred didn't like Ed in the office and be like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would he leave the suicide note with Nigma? It doesn't make sense. He didn't like him.
Right.
And then of course, I love Jim Carrey's very like dramatic emotions when the guy's talking to him. He's like, he was like a father or a brother or a cousin who visits a lot. He's like, and the guy who's giving him the tissue's like, settle down, Ed.
No,
You're being too crazy. And then of course he gives him and then again where you're like, he gives him the guy the suicide note, and he said, you could tell it's his handwriting exactly to the, like, he's pretty much describing how there's no disputable evidence that this isn't written by Fred. And you're like, how is that not suspicious?
It was like a sentence structure, form, and punctuation or something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah.
But they see the video and then they see the note. And of course, Commissioner Gore was like, well, there has to be a suicide. And then, thank you for your help, Bruce. And he leaves. This is when Bruce goes into his office and he's got a riddle on his desk. We then get to go to Ed's apartment. And, well, actually, we see the riddle. It's something about a clock. The answer to it is a clock. It's like, what face has what face has numbers that's not but doesn't have 13 or something like that? I can't remember what exactly the riddle said, but you find out it's a clock. That's the answer to the riddle. We get to go to Ed's apartment, and it's a very interesting apartment. You literally, is it his apartment or is it like a workshop? Because you don't see any bedroom or kitchen or anything. It's like one hallway. And then at the end is that like fortune teller machine that's dressed up as like the comics Riddler or 66 Riddler.
So his first riddle says, if you look at the numbers on my face, you won't find 13 anyplace.
Okay. He makes another riddle that he delivers to Wayne Manor. Did he stick tape on the back? Is that how he perfectly taped it to the bars outside of his house? And Gotham's always raining, so like, I feel like that riddle would have been pretty soggy by the time Bruce got it. Or actually, Alfred's the one who gets it, because Alfred does everything for Bruce. Bruce is useless.
Yeah. Probably wipes his own ass for him, too.
Bruce goes to visit Dr. Meridian, and he goes upstairs, hears her grunting and stuff like she's in distress. So he breaks down her door. And
plows right fucking through it.
Oh, he fucking... Boom! Yeah. And then he picks it up.
You owe me a new door.
Yeah. And she was
she was hitting her bag. She had like a punching bag that she was hitting, and she's making a lot of noise. Like you don't think those two cops that you literally just walked by, or security guards, or whatever the fuck they were, as you're walking down that hallway, didn't hear the same thing?
Yeah.
But Bruce walks up, he's like,
She's in
She's
trouble.
in distress.
she's in
Double drop
distress.
kick.
So he's pretty much there to talk to her about the riddles that he's been sent. And what was the second riddle?
Tear off one and scratch my head. What once was red is black instead.
What was the answer to that one?
A match.
Yes. And, of course, I love she's like, this guy is a wacko. And he's like, wacko, is that a technical term?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I like Nicole Kidman. She is a fantastic actress, but she just is not good in this movie. She just was not given a lot to do. Her lines were just bad.
I'd want Batman. No, now I want Bruce.
Yeah. So
The girl's gotta grow up.
Yeah, after they talk about the riddles and all this stuff, Bruce invites her. Oh, of course, he's got to say a line that you think is going to be sexual at first, but then it's like, well, we just need to get you out of those clothes. She's like, excuse me? Get you into a black dress. It's like, oh.
You ever been to the circus?
Because that's what I think of her. I think
Why is it so loud?
I think of a bunch of people screaming, creepy ass clowns, animal shitting places, peanuts. It's not like bam, dude. This ramen take a lady, a fine lady.
It's not like I get into a fancy suit, you get into a fancy dress, and we go to a fucking circus.
That's not where I dress up to go. I mean,
no, not at all. So yeah, we get to go to the circus. We get to see all the generic circus performers, and then we get introduced to the Flying Graysons. Bruce is stuck competing with himself because, of course, he asks Chase if she wants to go rock climbing. She's like, yeah, I love rock climbing, but I've met somebody. And he's like, oh, well, that's fast. You've only been here like a month. And she's like, well,
it wasn't sexual. You want to go rock climbing? Carry on.
Oh, God.
I just went silent. I was like, oh no, what happened?
Nope, we're good. Dick Grayson, yep, that's his name, goes,
Speaking of cocks.
does he's going to do a crazy stunt without a safety net because that's fucking smart.
Is it like the
death drop?
Death drop.
No net.
Yeah. Two-Face crashes the circus. He's all dressed in of course, he always wears a suit that has two different things on it. But it's a ringmaster's outfit where like one side looks like it, but the other side looks like a fucking jacket from like the 80s that like fucking Judas Priest would have wore.
Yes. Funny. Remember in the first Batman movie that we had the Joker doing stuff, and then when he came back or showed up again, he was dressed up as a ringmaster.
Yeah.
But anyway, carry on.
They literally just rewrote the Joker for Tommy Lee Jones. It said
I swear
you can't play the Joker.
Be the Joker, but don't be the Joker, Tommy. Like, I'm just gonna do something, dude. Like, all right.
So yeah, so they plant a bomb in the middle of the tent. Of course, he says, I won't set it off if I know someone in here is Batman. One of you rich fucks is Batman. And of course, everybody's like, ah! And Bruce Wayne gets up. He's like, Harvey, I'm Batman. But no one can hear him because everybody's losing their shit.
Yeah. Dude, this Batman is shit, dude. What is wrong with this fucking Batman? This Batman, look at this. And the first two, he's like getting some ass and he's going to tell someone he's Batman. And this one, he's like, I'm going to blow up. Fuck it. Tell everybody you're Batman.
Well, that's the thing is we get to, Nolan's Batman, trilogy. He takes some themes from these films and recreates them to be better.
Yeah.
Because you get something very similar in a Nolan Batman with this, Bruce trying to come forward and announce that he's Batman, but unfortunately he can't, he gets outshined by Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
So thank you, Christopher Nolan. So yeah, chaos is ensuing. The Flying Graysons are like, we're going to be the heroes. We're going to get this bomb out of here. So they do their crazy thing. They're going to
climb the scaffolding.
Yeah, they're going to hoist this bomb that I believe only weighs about 30 pounds up through the top of this tent. And, Dick's, he's trying to get up. He's the one getting the bomb through the hole. And Harvey looks up, or Two-Face, sorry, looks up and he
Dick's
shoots.
like, no. Dick's like, I'm supposed to be on top of the ball, not under it. Anyway. This is after he goes into the hole.
So Two-Face shoots the scaffolding. They all fall very dramatically. You get the look of, Dick, he throws the bomb off the side of the tent. And of course, so when he looks down, he sees his parents and his brother dead. You don't get to see him fall, but you see him fall, but you don't get to see him hit the ground. And then it's just Bruce looking up.
He's like,
I want to know how they all landed where they landed, because the mom was off to the side.
Right.
And the boys were like in the middle. So how did she land where they landed?
Yeah.
And did Dick Grayson always have a brother?
I don't know.
I was just curious. I don't know about that. I don't know.
To be honest, I've never really, even in comics, I've really never been a huge fan of Robin. I've always just been a fan of Batman being his own. Being him. He's the Dark Knight. He's a shadow. Like him having a sidekick just wasn't cool. Like for me.
I did enjoy Oracle from the
because
games.
She's a very unique character. Of course, she originally is Batgirl or Batwoman or whatever, and then she gets shot and then turns into the Oracle. But yeah, she's a cool character because she's not with Bruce.
Yeah,
while he's doing his thing.
She's a sidekick from.
She's like a support role.
Yeah, she's in her own area, and she's just kind of helping him.
I think my favorite Robin had to have been like, what the hell? Is it Damian Wayne, his son? I liked him as Robin because it was his kid.
Okay. Yeah.
And it just made sense.
I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing was cool because then Nightwing does his own thing. He goes away. He's not side by side with Batman fighting all the time like with Robin.
Yeah.
Robin just, I don't know. I just never been a big fan of Robin. So now that Dick's entire family is dead, the commissioner escorts him to Wayne Manor because he's like, oh, thank you, Bruce, for taking the young boy in. He's clearly like 17 years old, but he looks 35. But he's going to stay with you for a bit. He's like, yes, I understand the feeling. My parents are dead, and we're going to know about it 17 times in this fucking movie. Yes, Bruce, we know your parents are dead.
I think everybody does at this point.
Jesus. So, of course, after the commissioner leaves, Dick's like, all right, I'm out. And he calls Alfred Al. I'm like, you can't disrespect my boy Alfred. How dare you son of a bitch.
Get the fuck out of here, Chris O'Donnell.
He should just let him Chris leave. O'Donnell.
He should have just left him leave.
all the Chris O'Donnell fans out there, they're going to come to the comments and be like, fuck this show. We're burning it to the ground.
Listen, dude, it's going to be one fucking guy. And when we have 1 million viewers, it's still going to be one fucking guy.
Bruce persuades him to stay by showing him all of his cool bikes. He's got the really cool bike, and then he's got the same bike, but it's not complete. So he's like, oh, well, I'm too busy. You could always stay here and help fix it up, and then I'll give it to you. And
for a fee.
Yeah. And, Alfred comes out with the meal. He's like, well, if he's not staying, I guess I hope the dogs are hungry. He's like,
I know, like a nice-ass meal.
Yeah. And this is when we get flashbacks. Because Bruce is having a flashback while standing up next to a fireplace. Probably not the best place to be having a fucking flashback.
Just pass out right into the flames.
How did Bruce die? He just passed out in the fucking fireplace.
Went up in a blaze
Bruce.
So, Bruce talks about how his situation is the same as Dick's. No shit. Alfred talks to Dick about his rob. Can we just talk about how Michael Goff is the best part of this movie? Because he's just such a great Alfred.
Like the
Yeah.
way, like
I
his
love
dialogue and
him.
everything is so good. Like he goes in there, he asks Dick if he wants any help putting his stuff away. And he says no. And he picks up the helmet and he says, "What is this?" And he said, "Is this a Robin?" And he said, "Yes. You know, I saved my brother. And my parents said that I swooped in like a robin." I was like, "Oh, okay. That's not a terrible way of getting a nickname, but I don't know of all birds, is that really the bird your parents would have said? Like you swooped in
I'd
like
say
a
like a-
robin? Do you know how
like
big
a hawk.
robins are? Robins are like
What about-
this fucking big, bro. Like
They're tiny.
They're yeah. Okay. I guess I mean it makes sense to the whatever. And of course he walks out and Alfred tells him that the Robin will fly again. Batman encounters Two-Face and his goons, and this is like the weirdest fucking it's not even a fight. Like what is this? Bruce is driving through Batman, sorry, is driving through Gotham in his cool Batmobile. He's being followed by some goons behind him, and then he runs into Two-Face, who is pretending to be an old lady with a baby carriage. He whips out a fucking bazooka. He shoots it.
Yeah.
Batman has the cool tires that go sideways so you can drive sideways, and it misses it, blows up the vehicle behind him. And
Yep.
this was one of my biggest gripes about Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face is every time something bad happens to him, he does the same like childish like what
Yep.
is this reaction?
He's in it for the paycheck, dude.
Oh, yes.
So and literally, so that's how this all starts, and then of course, you know, Batman's running away from them as they're shooting at him, and they have cars, you know, with guns attached to the vehicles themselves.
Mhm.
And Batman then shoots a line up the side of this building and drives up it.
Yep.
All right.
One-upmanship. Why not?
Yep. And we even have to get, you know, Bruce looking over and looking at the people in the windows of the building as he's going up. Okay.
Gotta have that effect shot.
Ed tries to come up with a villain name. He goes with like, and his outfits are fucking insane. It was like Captain Kill
Yeah, right.
question mark man, which was the one I love where he's coming up with the names, and he's got that the Riddler dressed thing, the fortune thing that's got the no or the question mark, which I thought was cool. Did you listen to the lyrics of the song that was playing?
Mm-mm.
If you had the subtitles on, it shows you the lyrics of the song that was playing. It was talking about like if you don't like your boss, then you should kill him.
No.
Like something. I've never really like listened too hard into the lyrics, but I was like, damn, because it relates to what Ed just did.
Very
So
thematic.
I thought it was pretty cool. And then he finally comes up with the question mark man, but then he doesn't know what kind of outfit to do. But then he looks at the way that it's dressed, and he's like, "Thank you."
Yep.
Two-Face goes back to his lair where it is a fucking giant lair that is split into two sides. There's the dark side and the light side. The light side is Drew Barrymore.
Sugar.
Mm-hmm. What is her character's name? Sugar. Yep. Okay, you
Sugar.
just said it. I think that.
How long before this was it that she did Scream?
Scream was 96, so it was the year
Next year.
later.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was her name was huge since the early 80s. Of course, like E.T. put her on the map. You had E.T., you had Firestarter, which we are doing on this show since there's a new one coming out this year. But yeah,
Is there? I don't.
yeah. It's Zac Efron is in it. But yeah, he's her name is huge. That's why like when you talk about Scream, you know, that's why people really flocked to the theaters, because Drew Barrymore's face was on the cover of Scream because people thought she was going to be the main character, and then she dies 5 minutes into the movie.
Sad trombone.
And people are like, "Oh, I guess we got to stay for the rest." And then they were like, "Fuck, this movie's good."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So
he's
all distraught because Two-Face can't kill the Bat. Debbie Mazur is Spice. She's the bad assistant. I can't remember. I gotta look up what she was in. She was in Goodfellas, The Doors, which also has Val Kilmer. Malcolm X. She did a lot of voice work for a lot of the Grand Theft Auto games.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Riddler crashes the party, and this is where you get the first and only look at the like genuine Riddler outfit. Like when you think of the Riddler, this is what he looks like. It's the the question mark outfit, but of course he's wearing like tights as his pants.
He's got the little hat.
And he's got the hat. He's got the cane.
I thought it looked good. I thought it looked good because it was the traditional style of Riddler.
But then every other time you see him, he's wearing something completely different. He also dyes his hair pink when he's the Riddler, but somehow when he is Edward Nygma, he has a perfectly flowed long brown hair. And it doesn't look like a wig.
No.
How did he what? I'm confused. He pretty much gives the proposition to Two-Face about his brain-sucking box. Two-Face at first is not really about it, but then he's pretty much like, yeah, we could do a lot of bad shit with this. And he's like, all right, let's do it. So they go on this big robbery spree. They go and, rob a bunch of jewelry stores, banks, and all that. And I love it. It's like, where the fuck is Batman this whole time? They even say it on the news. It's like, there's no sign of Batman.
He's busy.
Yep.
He's too busy trying to figure this one girl out. He ain't got time for that.
Yep.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nope.
We then cut back to Wayne Manor where Dick is doing his laundry. This is that scene where we have to see Dick Grayson hang up his wet laundry with his feet. And like fucking why?
Outside of him being really good at like snapping towels and hanging laundry, I'm failing to see like the significance of this as a character. Is this a character growth moment that he knows how to?
This was a Schumacher scene that he looked at and went, perfect, and kept it in. Ed sends another riddle to Bruce. Ed changes his hairstyle to give speeches with Nigma Tech, like we just talked about.
Him and his jokes.
Oh, it's bad, dude. You keep calling the guy the Dick this whole fucking show, and he's like, Dick went to the hole, and so started shooting. I was like, at least Dick didn't shoot his load or something. I was like trying to don't say it. It's too easy. It's low hanging fruit, and it's just going this whole fucking time.
Oh god. So somehow Ed has Ed now has a multi-million-dollar company called Nigma Tech, and he has a fucking island? What?
What was the passage of time here?
I don't know. It can't have been that long. It seemed like it felt like a week, but for some reason it was like a couple years. I don't know. It's wild to me. But this is where all the brain juice goes. So all the people who have it set up in their TVs, their brain juice goes to this island, and Ed gets to sit in his really weird throne and suck it all in. Dick breaks into the Batcave because earlier he asked Alfred what was behind this door, and he said, "Oh, that's where those were all of Bruce's dead or Master Wayne's dead wives are." And then he says, "It's the silver."
Yeah, the silver. I was like, okay. Yeah.
So Alfred's on the bottom floor, and of course he's going to be entering into the Batcave. So he yells up to him. He's a Master Grayson or Master Dick, and he's all the way up on like the 5th floor of this mansion. And can you please tell me, if you are by yourself and you are trying to break into something you're not supposed to go, why would you go? He literally, when Alfred walks through the door and the door slowly goes, he goes, go to himself.
Yes.
Why didn't you just haul ass? Well, this whole scene is just ridiculously overly dramatic. This whole thing. And it took
so long that door would have been shut.
Yep.
But he slides through, he smashes through the silverware, he topples down into the Batcave, and Alfred again just turns around like, well, shit.
Yep.
Because Alfred wants him to discover it. I feel like that's the whole thing. Alfred's not very good at keeping Batman's secret.
He's like, I want everybody to know.
It seems like nobody's very good at keeping Batman's secret.
Not even Batman.
Bruce truly discovers Chase's obsession with Batman because she's got like a file on him and all that.
She's got a shrine of like his hair shavings.
Yeah. Alfred calls him on his fucking watch. Alfred, I'm kind of busy. What the fuck you doing, bro? This is 1995. How the fuck you have a watch with a fucking camera that clear on it?
The Apple stole the technology from him.
Right? So he pretty much tells him that Dick stole the car. And he's like, what car?
Egg?
The Mercedes?
The Jag?
No,
Bentley?
the other
No, the
car.
other car.
Like, dude, he gets angry.
Yeah, Dick takes a stroll down the most neon alley ever and picks a fight with the neon gang. And there's a lot of them. A lot of them. He's there rescuing a Alicia Silverstone lookalike, who Alicia Silverstone would then play Barbara in Batman and Robin. But this girl looks pretty much like Alicia Silverstone.
I thought it was at first.
I'm a little bit. I'm like, am I mistaken? Was this like an early thing where she's just an uncredited? She's the girl or something.
Yeah, right.
So he picks a fight with all the neon guys. He rescues the girl, and of course, you got to get that fucking scene. Doesn't Batman always kiss the girl after he saves them? Fuck!
I mean, not normally, no, but...
So he makes out with the girl while all these people are ready to kill the guy. She runs off. Don't know how she gets out of there. And there's so many people. Batman shows up, and once Batman shows up, everyone scatters. And of course, Dick is playing it off like he's Batman, and he's like, no, we're not. You might be Batboy. I'm like, this dude is 35. How do you not?
Where's the confusion?
How can you look at Chris O'Donnell and go, he looks like a kid? No, he doesn't. Not in 1995.
See it.
Yeah. Jesus. So, yeah, Bruce shows up as Batman, and Dick is mad because he's like, it's all your fault. My parents are dead. And he's like, well, if Batman could go back and do it again, he would. It's like, okay, cool scene.
I'm sure Bruce Wayne did all he could. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So they get back to the Batcave. Batman gets out of his outfit real fast because he goes into that cave and then comes out like 10 seconds later in his like sweats, a shirt, and then a towel because you're sweating profusely in that thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Dick is trying to persuade him to let him be his partner. He's like, I don't have partners. And you're too childish for this. You can't do it. It's not a good idea. And it's because Dick wants to kill Two-Face. He's like, killing Two-Face isn't going to do anything. It's just going to make it worse because then later on, it's going to be another face and then another face and then another face. And he'll never stop. He has Bruce. What the fuck? Oh, holy shit. So they go
Things
to
are getting dicey.
They go to Ed's party, where he just loves rubbing his success in Bruce's face, and Bruce is like super nice about it. He's like, "Congratulations, Ed. I'm happy I'm happy you're successful." And Ed's like, "Yeah, you stupid fuck. Maybe if you invested in me, this would be a different situation." I'm like, Jesus.
He's trying to get Bruce. Go ahead.
I just love how he goes to Sugar. He's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Well, you could call me whatever you want."
Right? Because obviously the whole thing where he's like trying to make Bruce Wayne like kiss his ass or whatever. Bruce is like, "No, dude, you're good. Congratulations." So he's like, "Fuck."
He's just trying to be supportive. Like, he's not like, that's the thing about Bruce Wayne is he's not vindictive because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't really care about the whole Bruce Wayne part of his life. He's more about being Batman. So why does he give a fuck if Ed Nigma is fucking rich? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
I love this whole scene though, where them talking back and forth, because Ed's all like, while Bruce is talking, and then he puts his glasses on, and they look exactly alike.
Yeah, and they take them off at the same time.
Yeah.
I love that eccentric reporter who comes in. He's like, "Who's the woman next to you, Bruce?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's Dr. Chase Meridian. Oh.
Yeah.
Like, she's in Batman and Robin too, which is great. She's got the same glasses. She's fucking great. I don't remember what her name was, but she's just so much. So they show off. He shows off his box. He shows off like people like going through their experiences in there, and he's like, "Bruce, maybe you should go in there." He's like, "Yeah, maybe. We'll see." He goes up to the system. He's checking it out, and Drew Barrymore comes up, and she's like, "What are you doing?" She's like trying to figure out how to shut it off, and she's like, she pulls out the little thing. It turns it off. Then he decides to go in, but she's got another one, and she puts it in. And
her boobs.
Yep. And that's when. Oh no, it wasn't her boobs. It was She was
I
holding
thought
like a
she
little.
had
It
it.
was like a stuffed animal or something.
Oh, I
she
thought
pulls
she
it
had
out
it.
of. I thought so too at first, but then I
thought
saw that she
had
was pulling it out of.
right there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he goes in there, the machine kicks on, and yeah, he gets his brain sucked for a little bit. But that's when Two-Face shows up again and crashes the party, and Ed is not happy about it. He's like, why couldn't you just let this, like, why did you have to do this? He's like, I am sick of waiting for you to deliver me Batman. Batman joins in the most epic way by breaking things. He crashes through the skylight, as he always does. Two-Face tries setting him on fire because he chases him through, like he fights a bunch of goons, and then he chases after him, falls. He like jumps off the side of the building, I think, and then he goes into like a tube, which then shoots him into a closed off area, which then gets gas pumped into it, and Two-Face shoots it with like a grenade launcher, and it blows up, starting the fire. Batman has his fucking cape. He can turn on a fucking heat resistant shield.
Yeah.
Because then he later jumps out of the fire. I love though when they zoom in on him, he's fucking sweating.
Yeah.
Which was good. And this is again, you get the generic Two-Face reaction. Why won't you die? And he shoots him again with another grenade, hits the scaffolding that Batman's standing on. Batman topples over, gets buried under the rubble. And of course, Dick saves him. You get the epic grab of the hands, and he pulls him up. And
let me pull you out of that very loose sediment.
Yeah, right.
That's the music that was playing when that all happened. Bruce is pissed. Said Dick, man. He's like, what the fuck you doing? He's like, I just saved your life. You would have been dead. Like, thank you would have been nice. Dick just wants to be his goddamn partner. And Bruce is like, no, I don't want you being my partner. I don't need a partner.
I've got my own dick. I don't need another one.
Yeah.
He's all like, how'd you get the outfit? And then Alfred's back here like, I did it.
I love when Dick goes out to get the outfit though, and Alfred's like, I could get fired for this. It's like, Bruce ain't firing you, Alfred.
You've been here forever. You ain't going nowhere.
You're more Bruce's boss, right? Batman visits Chase to see if she's truly into Batman. And then she makes out with him and figures out that she's more into Bruce. And
Val Kilmer has some lips though.
Right?
Like they are there.
And yeah, I love when he turns around. He's like, okay, that's fine. He turns around. He gets the smirk on his face because he's happy that she's more into Bruce than Batman. And this puts it into Bruce's head that he does not want to be Batman anymore. Batman is done. So he goes back to the Batcave, shuts everything down, tells Dick that like, nope, this is it. No more Batman. And he's like, what do you mean? Batman is like, we need Batman to stop all the bad guys. He's like, psh, stop the bad guys. Every time I stop, one more come. Like, what the hell? This is.
It's like, fuck bad guys. I'm in it for pussy now. It's like,
Jesus Christ, pretty much.
That's what he does.
But he's not James Bond.
No, James Bond fucks apparently men and women. In the newer movies, he's more open to it, which is cool. But he still does his fucking job.
Pussy galore.
Well, yeah, but that's more of a title than like an actual.
That's her name.
So he plans on telling Chase who he is, really, that he's Batman. And she comes over and they have a weird conversation and she knocks over some roses. And I'm like, not the roses. I was waiting. This is where you're waiting for the Seal song to kick in.
Yeah. I was like, is this?
Yes.
I was like, I was waiting for it, but we never got it.
Can we hear more of that?
Yeah, that was amazing. That was awesome.
I can't sing too much of it. YouTube will still straight
That's
10 seconds.
video.
10 seconds.
Yeah. And of course, this kicks another goddamn flashback. Guess what? Bruce's parents are dead.
No way.
But he breaks it down into telling her, he pretty much tells her the origin of him becoming Batman without being able to tell her he's Batman, and she does not get it. Like, he's like,
okay,
there's a ledger that my dad used to write in, and he can't write it in anymore. And then I ran out with it. I fell through into a cave and a bat flew at my face. And like, if you're a logical person, you would be like, oh shit, are you Batman, Bruce? She's like, what are you trying to tell me, Bruce?
And then she won't let him talk because she keeps jamming her tongue down his throat.
Yeah. She starts making out with him. And it's Halloween, so kids are knocking on the door of the mansion. And of course, you get the cute thing where he's giving out the candies, and he's like, "Oh, don't eat all the candy tonight. You're gonna sleep. You're gonna have a tummy ache when you go to sleep." And then Two-Face and Riddler show up, and they do their thing where they have masks like trick or treat, and Alfred opens up and then gets knocked the fuck out. And I was like, "You fucking bastards! You knocked out Alfred. How dare you?"
Knocked out an old man.
I feel like in reality he would have probably been dead. Like Michael Gough, he's looked 85 for 20 years. I mean, he's dead now, but
oh. Victor, when I showed him that picture.
So Riddler, so they crash Wayne Manor.
There's a bunch of dead people under there.
So Riddler goes to the Batcave. He tells Two-Face, "You do not kill Bruce Wayne. Do not kill anybody." And he's like, "Okay, fine." And he sits down and waits.
Alive.
Yep. And this is where we get Riddler going into the Batcave. And well, actually, Bruce tells Chase, who the fuck is Claire? About the night of his parents' funeral. He fell into a cave and a bat flew at him. She can't put it all together and starts making out. And when she, we failed to mention that once they make out, Chase figures out that he's Batman because he is the same fucking person. Because what he made? Oh, that's kind of like when I made out with Batman earlier today.
Your lips are the same.
Whoa.
No way.
So Riddler goes into the Batcave and starts throwing cute little green bats with question marks on them. They're little bombs. He starts throwing them. I love where, he pitches one. It's got the bass.
Yeah.
And you get a bunch of quirky lines from Jim Carrey as he's going through destroying everything in the Batcave. When he blows up the Batmobile, it just looks like plastic.
Yep. It was plastic the whole time. The whole time.
And he tosses one in where all the bat suits are, destroys that. And after he blows everything up, that's when he turns and he just goes, "JOYGASM!"
And then the joke lands. It lands harder than the Graysons did. And you're just like, oh. Terrible jokes. Terrible jokes. Flop. Fuck.
That one was good. That one was good. That was probably the best one you've had all night.
Good. Well, I'm glad you...
Holy shit.
It will never top you singing. I really hope that doesn't get cut out. That was fucking fantastic.
Oh, Two-Face shoots Bruce because he's sick and tired of this shit. Riddler tells him not to kill him, and Chase is taken, and the Riddler leaves another riddle for Bruce. Riddler teases Chase with his very flashy suit. He's wearing a suit that's literally covered in lights that flash question marks.
My favorite.
Oh,
Perfect.
I want to say something I did find entertaining about the whole scene where he tells Two-Face not to do anything. Two-Face is just sitting there flipping coins, and it keeps coming up tails, and he's like, damn it. Like, he wants to kill somebody so fucking bad, but he can't do it.
Well, that's the thing, is that Two-Face's coin is actually two heads, but one side has scratch marks on it.
Yeah, I meant that. Yeah, of course. That's
the whole story behind his coin. But one of them is like the...
Well, landed the good one, because that means he can't kill people. If it's a scratched one, he can't.
No, I know what you mean. I just like to clarify Two-Face's infamous coin.
Oh, of course.
To people who don't know. Bruce solves the riddles, and pretty much all the riddles put together determine that it's Enigma is the Riddler. You couldn't figure that out? He looks just like him. He's wearing a fucking Zorro mask. What do you mean? It's like if somebody knew Dick Grayson and ran into him as Robin is like, Dick? How do you know it's me?
I guess it's the whole Clark Kent glasses.
Yes, glasses. I was gonna say that.
Funny as hell. So Bruce has a new suit. He goes down to Alfred's to did all the bat suits get destroyed? He's like, not the sonar one that's not, hasn't been tested yet. And so that's what we get.
Thanks,
another
Jarvis. Time to suit up.
Yeah, that's what we get another close up fucking dress up of his ass, crotch, and
Ass
bat
shot.
nipples.
Boom.
Listen,
Yep.
this suit is actually pretty cool
What the
when it's
hell,
zoomed
though?
out. But why the fucking nipples? Why?
I just want to know why they needed an actual crack. Like,
Yeah,
Is
there's
that the
like that.
zipper
Like,
so you could take a dump as
I
Batman?
don't know, this bumper dumper.
like what the hell?
Oh shit!
This is
I hope that's got
it's
like
the
a.
butt flaps, you know,
Oh.
with the old timey pajamas, the one piece pajamas. You had that
Yeah.
flap.
See, I'm just thinking of like I'm thinking of like a zipper if that binds. But then I'm thinking of like if any of you are in the
He gets home, he's like, Alfred, make sure the door's unlocked. I gotta go.
yeah, because like I'm thinking of like if you guys have ever been like tactical equipment, right? Like there's a lot of tactical bags that have like just a rip, like you can just grab the front and pull, and they just instantly open. I'm assuming that's how his ass flap is. It's like grabs,
Probably.
whoosh, opens up.
He does it
He's
like
had this
Jim
problem
Carrey in Ace
before.
Ventura, but it just rips open right in the seam there in the middle.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, yes,
See, he's had this problem before. He needs to fix it.
Yeah.
absolutely.
He shit in the batsuit once. He doesn't want to do that again.
He's bad news.
He's like, this is so embarrassing.
One time he got Taco Bell and the potato
Bro,
layer. No, that's
if
not
you're
sorry.
if you're Batman, you're not getting Taco Bell when you're Batman. You get it as Bruce Wayne, not as Batman. Oh my
But he had it
God.
earlier in the day.
Yeah. Dick shows up. He's got a suit of his own with fancy. Ooh, what's the R stand for? Robin.
Robin.
Do you see he has the R symbol on his mask
Radical.
too? Radical, dude. So, at first it's because he was trying to determine whether or not he's going to take the bat boat or the new bat wing that's hanging upside down, because that's logical. Why is
Do
it
we go
like
by
that?
air or by sea?
because it's like a bat.
Of course, he
Gotta
has to
love
go by sea. He's a dick. He's
So,
a
yeah.
seaman.
Yeah. Batman takes the bat wing.
This fucking movie. This is not because of me. I'm not that clever.
Batman takes the Batwing and Robin takes the boat. Two-Face and Riddler play Battleship, and it's all real because every time they do it, it blows something up outside, and eventually it blows the bat boat lasts 15 seconds in this movie. And
You sunk my battleship.
yep. And the Riddler hits the Batwing with a wave of energy, and Batman saves Robin and comically wraps the goons up in a net. Eventually,
like-
those goons are going to die.
Yes.
This is where we get the great line where they climb up onto the island and it is holy rusted metal, Batman. Oh my God. The island rises and Batman and Robin get separated because Batman tries to use his little hook thing and it doesn't work. And well, see you later, Dick.
Bye.
Robin fights Two-Face. He pretty much almost has him killed, but then saves him. And then, of course, Two-Face turns on him and takes him away.
Of course.
Batman climbs up to the Riddler's lair, and the Riddler has Robin and Chase locked in cages, giving Batman a choice. Batman tricks the Riddler by he tells him a riddle, and then when he's kind of distracted, he throws a batarang at the massive device that looks like a blender. It destroys everything. It sucks. Is all of the shit coming out of his head?
That's how that works, remember?
It's like sucking out of his head. Yeah. So Batman saves Chase and Robin. Pretty much they both fall. I thought they were over there like separate ones, but I guess they were going down the same chute. I was very confused by that. They were in two separate cages, and I thought there was two separate holes that they were going to fall into, but clearly they were going down the same one because he saves Chase first, which she would have died with a broken back because she gets wrapped up and then stops immediately, and it's literally the Gwen Stacy moment.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
And then he rescues Robin almost at the bottom. He lowers him, and that's when Two-Face shows up, and he's pretty much like, "I'm gonna kill you now," but he's gonna do it without flipping his coin, and that's when Batman steps in. He's like, "Hey Harvey, what about your coin?" And he's got a bunch of coins in his hand, and when he's like, yes.
That's when he gets all serious. He's like, "You're right, my friend. Justice, must be served properly." And
so
it's all serious.
Yeah. So he takes his coin out, and as he flips it up into the air, Batman throws a bunch of other coins, which then freaks Two-Face out. He can't get his coin. He slips off. He dies. and you get the tragic hand, which then the coin lands in his hand as it goes in under the water.
And it was the good side. It was, by the
Yep.
way. It was good side.
Yep. And Two-Face is dead. They go back up, and Batman finds Nigma, whose head is all fucking weird looking now.
Right?
It is fucking, it looks like a crescent moon. He's just,
Batman!
It's like Cronenberg came in and decided to do some special effects on this movie. It's a Cronenberg movie now. This is where all the parents were like, oh no. It's like, too late. It's the end, bitch.
Yep. Can't get us now. Ha ha.
So, of course, Riddler is all freaked out. He gets caught. He gets sent to Arkham. Chase goes to visit him. The doctor's name is Burton. A nice little nod to Tim Burton.
Yes.
She goes up to the window, asks, oh, I heard you know who the Batman is. And he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you unless you say please. And she says, please. And he comes out. He's like, I'm Batman. And he flaps his prison uniform around. And she comes back out to Bruce and Alfred and says, well, he's a wacko. He's like, oh, wacko. Is that a technical term? I'm like, we already got that joke.
And you're like, well, thank God she won't be in the next movie.
Both of them.
Yep.
Michael goes like, I'm good here.
Yeah, right.
Good.
And yeah, he pretty much, you get the gist that they're going to be in a relationship now, because he's like, I won't be too long or something like that. It's like, I won't be long for dinner or something. And then, we get the infamous scene of it's dark as Batman and Robin run towards the camera. And trust me, it won't be the last time you see that fucking shot.
Of course it won't.
And that's it. That's the end. We get a really weird song. Do you know there was an Offspring song in this movie?
I know. I heard that. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I didn't even know the Offspring were around back in 1995, but all right.
Early Offspring.
But then,
recognize the song.
Everybody's like, okay, where's Kiss from a Rose? Not
You
until
gotta
a
wait.
minute, not until a minute 30 before the credits end. So
Sorry.
too bad for you.
I was
the
shocked
end.
I was shocked by the Offspring thing too, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, this is the Offspring? It's early Offspring because it doesn't even sound like them.
I was like, why does this fit into, where does this fit into, this doesn't feel like a Batman thing.
So was the Offspring song was when Dick's
Smash It Up.
driving down the neon place with all the neon gangsters and stuff. That was it.
Lenny Kravitz?
Lenny-
Oh, written and produced.
Lenny
Sorry.
Kravitz wrote and produced the song for this movie.
But Brandy sang it.
Brandy
Okay.
sang it, but
And then his daughter would come later and play Catwoman in the
Absolutely.
Batman. Whoa. And her mother was in the Cosby Show. That's all we're gonna say about that.
Yeah, we'll just.
So yeah, that's Batman Forever.
Riddle
What
me
a
this.
fucking
does he
movie,
actually
right?
say that in the movie?
He does. He
Did I
says
miss
riddle
that?
me
Okay.
this.
I must have stepped out.
He says it.
Riddle
He
me
said it
that.
a couple. Yeah, he says it a couple times.
Who's afraid of the big,
Big
black,
black
bat?
bat. He says it to Two-Face too, where he says, "Riddle me this." Who? It's like
Something
it was
about-
when they figure out that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah.
He's like, "Who? Riddle me
Something
this."
about
Who would
bats on
have
the
some?
brain.
Yeah, bats on the brain or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that is it.
Why-
That is Batman Forever. Go ahead.
Further reinforce that these characters don't act anything like they should do in any of these movies.
Yep.
For the riddles were almost entirely inconsequential. I
Pretty
don't
much.
see what the point of him finding out that he was
That
he
was
would have
literally
figured it
all
out.
for him for Bruce to figure out that Enigma is the Riddler.
That was it. Outside of a few times
All
where
that
he
was
said
all.
it. Yeah, out of the few times that he said it.
Ooh, Your favorite group is in.
Fuck you two. Anyway, the
I agree.
outside of those, and he says what 3 or 4, verbally says 3 or 4 riddles himself in the
Yep.
movie.
Yep.
They literally, none of it could have been in the movie and it would have made a damn bit of difference.
No, I agree. But that's it. That's Batman Forever. What a movie. Next week,
Still wrote and performed his own song.
we are talking about one of
what some people would consider one of the worst films ever made. The 1997 Batman and Robin, which will close out the 90s Batman saga. And then we get to venture into the 2000s Batman where it gets better. It gets better.
Thankfully.
Yeah, this next episode I feel is going to be even wackier than this one, because Batman and Robin from even when I was young is not a good movie. And Chris O'Donnell's in it, so clearly it's not going to be any better. We get a new Batman. We get some new villains. We get a lot of ice puns. That's pretty much all I'm going to tell you about Batman and Robin. That would have been a perfect song for to put "Kiss from a Rose" in. It has fucking Poison Ivy in it.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense.
They just didn't.
Just reuse it. Hell, they don't play it at all during the fucking movie.
It's very true. It's very true. So as you're watching this, we did release our fresh cuts of The Batman, which came out this past Monday. And this past Wednesday, we released our, me and my brother sat down and we talked about Twister. We released the video debut of our Twister episode. The Suck So. The Suck So.
Love that.
So yeah,
I wish it could have been.
Yeah, that was our video debut. That was released on Wednesday. Our Fresh Cuts episode that will be released on Monday. We're gonna be sitting down talking about the Adam Project, the new Ryan Reynolds, Mark Ruffalo movie. I'm very excited to watch it and to talk about it. And yeah, so next week is going to be another busy one. We're going to have hopefully we're trying to consistently get 3 videos out every week to try to put as much content out there as possible. Some weeks we might have less. Some weeks, I mean, we're trying to shoot for 3. We don't want to go too crazy because it's a lot. But I appreciate everybody supporting us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you listen to us on any podcast service that you could rate us on, make sure to rate us 5 stars or whatever you think we deserve. If you watch or listen to us on an app like Apple Podcasts or Good Pods, where you could leave a review, please leave us a review. Tell us what you thought of the episode. Tell us tell us anything you think of when you listen to the episode. We appreciate all the feedback. As for anything else, that's about it.
I have a couple things to add. Chime in if you want to hear Parker sing some more. I'm totally down with that.
All right.
Now he has to keep it in.
Yes, you have to. And secondly, don't forget to watch Jurassic Park 3.
Yes, that is always how we have to end the show. We always have to put that out there because it's our most viewed video on the tube, and it's probably going to be our most viewed video on the tube for a long time.
Yes.
So yes, thank you for all the support. Appreciate you all. We'll see you all next week for episode 47, Batman and Robin. But as for today, I am your host, Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film. This has been Dissect That Film podcast number 46. We'll see y'all again soon. Bye.